Hey, welcome, welcome, welcome. Gonna give a couple of minutes for people to come on in and join us. Beautiful. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome. This is a wonderful discussion that we're going to have today with several young and elder dancers and men of the community. And the title of this gathering is Inheritance to Dance. So first, I just want to say thank you to Djoli Kelen. Thank you to the Sandy Springs Arts Foundation, South Arts, National Endowment for the Arts, and just to say to Djoli Kelen, thank you for having a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful weekend of events. Please make sure if you're out there that you check the schedule on Djoli Kelen's Facebook page or Instagram to see everything that's going on this weekend. This is the culminating weekend. So there are dance classes going on. Right after this, a lot of the moderators here, the panelists here are about to jump in and teach a class. You see the one that has all those wonderful faces down there and the table. They are ready to teach, and they're going to teach a tag team dance class today. There will be a Djoli Kelen performance concert tonight, and then tomorrow Souleymane is going to be teaching a class both for the community and one comprehensive intensive class just before that at 10 a.m. So there are a lot of things to check out. But today, right now, the reason that we're here is to discuss these great minds who came together based off of last year's discussion about boys dancing too, right? These men have come together to form something that they have almost labeled, but maybe you can put input in it as well. But it is called Inheritance to Dance. And their objective is to seek to introduce themselves to our commonalities, overlapping experiences in African and African diasporic dance, and our shared vision as a brotherhood. Furthermore, this is their statement, we hope to receive feedback and other considerations from attendees and Djoli Kelen community. We are in the inaugural phase of our ensemble and hope to continue growing our significance and purpose with each meeting that they engage in. And so, like I said, there was a meeting last year, and out of that panel discussion, many of them were a part of it. This was back in February 2021. Djoli Kelen had, as we're involved in now, their annual Black History program here in Atlanta, Georgia. 7 men were called together to share their collective wisdom and experiences as men who have danced in spaces with reputable African dance teachers and companies in the United States. They gathered around the theme, again, Black Boys Dance Too. Ensembled by Sulé-Joel Adams, who is here today. Ibrahima Diouf was present. Baba Uche Omoniyi, who is here now. Baba Stafford, who is here now. Darian M. Parker, Dr. yaTande, Whitney V. Hunter, and Daunté King Fyall are all present now. These brothers are ready to discuss and let you know what they're trying to do. There's a certain energy has been shared on social media when the men hit the floor. And what we want to do now is introduce them and then have them tell them a little bit about themselves. But you are in the company of great men, great, great men. So let's go around, I guess. We can start with Sulé as one of the people who brought this whole thing together. If you could just talk a little bit about your experience and who you are.
Hi everyone, my name is Sulé Adams, a native of New Orleans. That's where my dance journey began at the age of maybe 12, 13. It was something I always loved to do, and like many kids born late 70s, early 80s, Michael Jackson was the big thing. So I always knew that dance was something that I wanted to do. But growing up in urban New Orleans, that's something that it wasn't something that you would just announce, because I knew that there were backlash that would come with that, being a Black Southern boy growing up in the South. So I suppressed that. So by suppressing the urge and love of wanting to dance, I acted out in school. It was in my maybe 7th grade year that I was told if I get in trouble just one more time, I would have been expelled in my private school that I was attending at the time. The alternative was that I needed to show up at a rehearsal and partake in the Christmas performance. It was there that I met Judy of Sacred Dance Ministry of New Orleans, who then introduced me to Abdullah Papa Kamara from Senegal, West Africa. And at that age of 12, 13, began my dance journey.
Okay, thank you. And I also wanted to shout you out because I thanked all these other people for their contributions to making this happen. But I also want to thank you for your company, which is Whole Heart Productions, for all of the work that you've helped to make the Djoli Kelen Black History event this year a success, right? So just everybody keep in mind that the theme here is men being involved in dance, young men being involved in dance, and this collective of men is committed to making sure that that happens, that they're supported, and a safe space is created, right? I would like to now go to the elder in the room, and Baba Uche, if you could just go ahead and talk a little bit about your backstory and let the people know who you are. Thank you.
You're welcome. Greetings to everyone. Again, thank you to Djoli Kelen for providing this forum and the weekend of events. As you said, my name is Uche Omoniyi. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I'm a member of Muntu Dance Theater. I've been a member since 1977. I didn't start out, or I didn't have aspirations to be a dancer, but I've always had a love of African people and a love of Africa. And I was also very interested in the struggle for the liberation of Black people. And through that mission, I came across Muntu Dance Theater through various organizations that I was involved with. I auditioned. I had never danced before. I had never seen African dance before. And I saw a performance. I was blown away. I heard about an audition. I tried it. I made the audition, and from there, it's been history. Through dance as a vehicle and through music, it was a way to touch and reach our people, many of whom were ignorant of who they were, where they came from, and what they were about. And so through Muntu and through dance and through traveling around the country and around the world, we were able to touch many hearts, inspire many minds, and inspire many spirits to say that, oh, wow, I come from that greatness. That is me. That's who I am. And so, you know, I've had many, many wonderful teachers from Africa, from here in America. And it's always been about sharing and continuing the legacy that we are an African people, we come from greatness, and we have a lot to share and contribute to the world.
Ashe, Ashe, thank you so much. I'm gonna just keep moving around this this display, and I'm gonna move on to to Baba Stafford. If you could just talk a little bit about your experience in dance, and I do have a question for you all after, but first I just want everybody to make sure that they introduce and let the people know who you are and the years you guys have put in this.
All right, thank you. Can everyone hear me? All right, so as you heard, I'm Baba Stafford Berry Jr. I am currently a professor of practice at Indiana University. I've been here, well, this is my 5th year here, working at this institution. I've worked at several institutions in a few different states, the state of Ohio, the state of North Carolina, the state of Pennsylvania, where I was born and raised. I studied dance and theater and music all of my adolescent life, and ended up touring with, may he rest in peace, Baba Chuck Davis, for 14 years as the Associate Artistic Director of the African American Dance Ensemble, and have had lots of companies, quite a few companies that I've been a part of all throughout my learning, and just happy to be amongst these guys here. Our collective gives me great joy, and very glad that we are continuing our dialogue and opening up our dialogue to the larger community.
Mel, you muted. Mel, you muted. Hey, Mel, you muted. Mel, you muted.
I said I'm gonna stay. I'm sorry, I had to get used to that. You know, when you're over a certain age, the unmute button just isn't your friend, you know. Oh boy. So anyway, let me get back to that. I said I was going to stay in the Hollywood Squares thing, and then I'm going to go down to this table. So I just want to go straight to yaTande. If you could just talk a little bit about your experience. You two are a scholar and have been in this for a minute regarding creativity and dance.
Great. Am I heard well?
Yes.
Yes. All right. Excellent. Well, first I'll start by saying I give thanks to all the forces that have gotten me here today, the Great Spirit, all the spirits and my ancestors, all those who have come before me. So I give thanks. I give thanks to Sulé for being, you know, a constant friend and a collaborator. Give thanks to Djoli Kelen for continuing the legacy, and so on, and all of the brothers here and everybody here. Thank you for allowing me to have this space. Ashe. Okay, so I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I kind of gonna do this a little quick. You know, I danced as a young boy. My family put us in dance classes. Where the oldest went, that's where all the others went. So, you know, I had experience there and some aptitude. I had a lot of aptitude and a little experience, and so that, but interest and is really what drove me. I had a passion to dance. I used to dance at all my school functions and things like that. Anyway, so I graduated from Farragut Career Academy on the west side of Chicago. I moved to Washington, D.C. To go to Howard University, first as a film major, but then I transferred into dance and theater arts. I took my first African dance class as a PE course. And that's where I met Hassan Kante, who was the director of Kankaran West African Dance Company. I met Kariatu Conte and Paul Kengmo. And those were the 3 instructors that led the first African dance class I ever took. In that experience, Hassan grabbed me up and said, come on down to the studio and dance. And I said, sure, whatever that meant. And that's what happened. It opened the whole world to me of African dance, African rhythm, culture, African spirituality, so on and so forth. So, you know, I think that's basically how I came to this point. And from DC, graduated and moved to New York and continued on my journey. But African dance, Afro-Caribbean dance has been really the love, the base. And I can't go on without giving honor and respect to Dr. Sherelle Berriman Johnson, who was my Ibache. She was my mentor at Howard, and so many others. But she really opened the door for me into this idea idea of what it means to be a dancer, what it means to consider African dance on the hierarchy, on the level as all other forms, and really what it means to embrace this culture. So, so I give thanks for that, and that's it for now. That's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna go across the table now. Let's start with Souleymane Solosana. Souleymane hails from Mali. Please just tell us a little bit about your dance experience and background, and just share with the people exactly how you came to be as fabulous as you are.
Wow. Hello, everybody. My name is Souleymane Solosana from Mali, West Africa. And can everybody hear me fine? I don't have a long voice, so yeah. I grew up dancing when I was a little, in a very tough, difficult way, because my family was a very deep, conservative Muslim. No dance, no TV, you don't watch TV, you cannot listen like a radio, like music in the radio and everything. And then the reason I fell in love with dance, I like to follow the young ladies in the community. Why? In the nighttime, when they start doing the full moon celebration, like I used to go to school, like Wednesday night, we know Thursday, you don't go to school, you know, we go out, you know, I sneak and go out to follow those young ladies in the street and like clap hands, sing and dance with them. This is how I like started becoming inside of music and dance. It was a must inside our house. The only thing we know, my family know, is to prepare the mosque for people to come to pray. And after that, you sit down, you read the Quran, and after reading the Quran, you get up and go to bed. But I don't go to sleep. The only thing I like to do is to go out and do whatever I think will make me happy and make me comfortable. And by the time my family was like giving me hard time, something told me in my mind, God put you in this world for you to be able to be the man who want to preserve and begin the culture. You are an artist. And my auntie take me to the Ballet district in Bamako. This is where I kind of like trying to like get better in the dance, understanding the timing more, knowing the story, you know, dancing with the company and everything. My teacher name called Issa Diallo, name called by Issa Diallo in Bamako. And I did a lot of biennale artistic traveling to the region. Biennale artistic is the competition between the region. You know, every year we do that in Mali, but this time Mali is kind of like a trouble with us, some kind of political stuff, and they stop doing. So, and I thank God really well to be an artist, to be able to travel to different places to share the culture with families, share the culture with friends, and share the culture with people.
That's great. Beautiful, beautiful. That's very interesting. I even think that you had obstacles to choosing dance based on religion. I didn't know that. So thank you for sharing that. All right, I'm going to continue across the table to Daunté. Please feel free to express a little bit about what brought you to dance, like, and where, like, what your history is with dance. And you were born also somewhere else as well, so you could share that too.
Awesome. Yeah, I was Daunté, KingTae, Fyall. I was born in Frankfurt, Germany. Both of my parents, my mom and my dad, were in the service in the army, and they were living there. And so I came back to DC. My mom was originally from DC, and my dad's from New York. And so my aunt brought me to DC as a young child while my parents were still serving in Germany. So for like maybe the first, you know, maybe I would say almost a year, a couple months or so. I was with my aunt, and then my mom and dad came. But I was always that dancer at the family functions that was, turn the party out. They like, Daunté, do that dance, get it, Daunté, get it, Daunté. That's how it started for me as a child, but no formal dance training. When I got to college, first generation college student, when I got there, I did take a dance class as an elective just to see, where I would fit in and, trying to do some dance things, but it didn't really click with me as much until when I was 19. I was working a summer job in DC Parks and Recreation, which just so happened to be next to where Conqueror West African Dance Company was having their rehearsals and also classes. So on Saturdays at work, I would hear drums. I had never heard of the djembe, had never heard of anything related to my culture or my ancestry. And so we were kind of at the beginning, just we didn't know what the sounds were. So I walked over there, and who I would then call Papa San was sitting on one of the park benches watching everyone warm up in the class, and people were selling goods. And I walked over to him, and I saw a sign that said, "Come from West African Dance Company." And I was like, "Oh, this is a dance company, how do you audition? How do you join this?" And have you ever danced? And he said, "We don't do auditions. If you come Tuesday, we'll see what you can do, right?" So I came that Tuesday and told my aunt, who had also went to Howard University and studied mass communications. I told her and she said, "You met Papa San? Do you know that?" No. So I ended up showing up that Tuesday and then never left. And that was the beginning of my formal dance training. Was in traditional West African dance with Papa San. I would come down maybe 4 times a week from Baltimore to train with him. Sometimes he would like to get to rehearsals 2 hours early to take a little nap. So I would get there too and disturb his nap to make sure that, I had the choreography, because when I walked in, everyone was jumping in the air. Even yaTande, I walked and see him dance, flying through the air, and I wanted to do that. I'd never seen my people move like that before. I was almost upset as to why I didn't know about this. But I understand Mendes Cameron's inheritance of dance, and literally I inherited this dance from Papa San, and who I would call my first teacher, and then Babacar and Djoli of Senegal, I would also call my first teachers who poured into me. And last but not least, growing up in DC and Southeast, we had always, my uncle would take us up to the White House. We had always seen the White House behind these gates. We've always seen these, official buildings, behind gates. And I would say that within a year of training with Papa San and performing with him, he invited me to perform with the company when they went to the White House back in 2007. So it was like this culture gave me access to a building that I had always saw behind gates my entire life. And so I knew that there was something to this if I stayed close to the drum. If I stayed close to these drums, then my life would expand in the way that I had seen it expand within that year. And so up until now, I've since done more West African dance training with several master artists, and even toured, even went to perform in recently in Cote d'Ivoire, West Africa, and also had the opportunity to formally train at Dance Academy in Los Angeles when I arrived. So this has truly been a journey for me, and I'm so excited and honored to sit on the panel with these amazing individuals. It's such an honor, and I can't even explain. So it's a privilege to be here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Don't feel lonely just because you're the last. The last should be made the first. Mr. Darian Parker, PhD. If you could just go ahead and share a little bit about your journey in this dance, and then right after that, we're going to jump into the meat of why we're gathered here.
Hey, hello everybody. I'm Darian. I grew up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and like Souleymane, I kind of, well, my grandmother was religious. Everybody in the family was religious, but my grandmother was religious. And my mother and I stayed with my grandmother for the first 5 years of my life. And then we moved across the street. And, you know, my grandmother's house, no dancing, no music, none of that stuff, right? Thank God my mother wanted to party and live life, because that's where I got my love of music. That's where I got my love of dance. And if it were not for, thank God my mother wanted to sing. I always say, you know, it's amazing how it happens, but yeah. So my introduction into the culture, which, you know, I'll just say is Black culture, music and dance, was through my mother and her love of music, and her blasting that stereo every weekend, people coming up to me telling me, tell my mother to turn her music down. So that's where I got my love of dance. In terms of African dance, when I was 19, I saw a performance at UCLA, and this woman came out onto the stage. I had never seen anything like that in my life. Like, her aura was so big. Like, I saw streaks of silver lightning shooting off her body as she danced. And I got chills, and I just said, you know what? Because it was kind of in a dark place in my life, but that experience woke me up. Right? It reminded me of how life was supposed to feel. And I said to myself, you know what? Whatever she's feeling when she's dancing, that's what I need to feel every single day of my life. So that was my introduction to African dance. And that woman was Nzinga Kamara, who was my first teacher. To this day, I've never seen anyone who could dance like her. And so she awakened something in me. It was cultural, but it was spiritual. And now that I'm an adult and I've started to teach and perform and done all of that, I think the thing that I've gotten from Nzinga the most is that, you know, this culture of African dance and what it has to contribute to the world is healing. And that's what I always try to do when I teach. I want to encourage people, uplift people. I want them to feel better, you know, than when they came. And I feel like on some level, I was designed to do that. And that's what I do in my everyday practice, professional, you know, dancing, teaching. And so that's it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Wow. Like I said earlier, we are in the company of some great men. I think one of the main things that I would love to discuss right now is a little bit about this organization, you know, and the vision that you guys have coming together. And I was listening to your stories, and I could hear how some people had blockages, but had to follow their heart, right? So they had to dance because that was the thing that their soul must have, you know. I heard one person say they were born an artist. That's what they do. I heard someone else said that this is what I need to heal, to open up. So what I guess I'm trying to get at right now is, if there is a problem or if there is a situation, what is it that inheritance to dance, what is it that you plan to solve? Like, or what is it that you're offering, you know? And before I say that, the other thing that I thought was interesting was just hearing how each of you is also, like, I love the inheritance, meaning you had a teacher, you know, or you saw a dancer, or you saw people dancing, and it was passed down to you. Like, you accepted the challenge, you accepted it. I heard Baba Chuck's name mentioned. I heard Asan Kante's name mentioned, right? And these people, then now there is another group, and that other group is you, right? What does that look like for you? So that's what I'm asking. Like, what are the challenges that you're seeing, and what is it that you're hoping to answer, right? How are you the answer? Does that make sense? Anybody care to answer that?
I guess I'll jump in, right? I think bringing us all together, even from the start of last year, I noticed throughout my travels to different conferences that the male dance role or dance line, as we call them, had become very scarce over the years. And I know in different regions of how or where we all kind of begin our dance journey, that we're probably one of a few anyways, right? So at the conferences is where we all got or reconnected again, all having at these conferences. And that reconnection allow us to be at least 15 plus deep, going across the floor together and seeing each other, loving what we're doing and having and being that light that Darian saw in his first instructor, right? So over time, I noticed that it began to decrease more and more and more and more. So initially, that was my thought when reaching out to all my brothers here, is that, do you see what I see? And how can we move from that? And how can we make change within what we see? And that's how this all began. So from last year's panel discussion, we actually met each month to discuss different topics, starting from that point. And I'll have someone else chime in if you will.
I'll jump in. Yeah, you asked how. I'm not gonna answer. I'm not gonna answer how am I the answer. No, I'm not gonna do that. That's too big. But I will respond by saying, when I joined Conqueron, that was a company that had a lot of men at that year. Those years, that was 91, 92, something like that. They had a lot of men, and men of different sexual orientations, gender expression, all of that was present, right? And so, in joining that and reflecting on that experience, what I am aware of is what Sule is saying, right? That this line, this continuation, the participation of men in African dance is really important. So, and it's part of who we are. I mean, it is part of our heritage to dance for various reasons. So I think this our mission, our work, through our organizing of with each other, is about offering a vision of continuation, a vision of continuity that says, okay, well, if I've learned from Hassan, then somebody is going to learn from me. Perhaps it's my mission, perhaps it's my job to seek out young Black men or men of color or men in general, right? That as a way of being very mindful about this connecting. And I think what we're doing is assuming that role, that function, to say, okay, we're going to make a space so that men can see us and know that it is viable and okay to want to pursue dance, to want to engage in dance as a career, as a life work, as recreate, whatever level, however you want to participate. But that the presence of us as a group in this particular situation is for that function, to say, look, we do it. This is something we do. So this is the legacy that I think that I want to continue with.
And I noticed in many travels to different parts of Africa, the prominence and the importance that I saw of men dancing. They were always at the forefront. One example is masquerade dance, usually revolved around secret societies of men and dance. And it was functional, for the community and for the village and for certain spiritual things. And, you know, it just, for farmers, for so many segments in society, I saw men dancing at the forefront. And I said, wow, this, you know, it's not known, and it needs to be known that, you know, men dancing is important and um, serves a very important purpose, uh, spiritually, physically, and mentally. So I just wanted to add that.
That's awesome. Anybody else have a comment in particular about what you want to see, you know, with your work or this group?
I would say that I would want, you know, it's so beautiful to align again with these, you know, outstanding gentlemen, you know, and I feel that we all have that shared mission. And for me, I would love to, I want to continue to fortify myself so that others can inherit this through me. It's in alignment with these brothers, I feel that they are actively doing the same. You know, whether it's traveling back to the continent, whether it's taking more workshops and classes and, you know, delving into various aspects of the culture through music, song, dance, you know, spirituality. We are all, you know, constantly fortifying ourselves to be able to be a place, a home rather, for others to inherit, you know, this culture that has transformed our lives in so many ways. And so I think through doing that, I feel that for me personally, I would want to show other men that it is, and people, that you can also have access, you know, to this, to the power that resides within this culture. You can also transform and change your life. And I feel that the greatest person that we can be in this book, you know, in this collective, in our culture, is the example of that. And so by every day we're, you know, I'm thinking about our meetings that we had, you know, every month it was a chance for me to get to know these brothers a bit more, you know, something different. And to now, you know, be on this panel, it's not just, you know, one thought that went into this, but it's a collective of ideas and desire to, you know, bring something better, you know, to our world. And I personally, like Sulé said, I would love, you know, I think I may have came in the tail end of seeing, you know, 15 brothers going across the floor. You know, that was such an amazing, I've never seen, you know, my brothers dancing on the floor like that. And you have the ladies going down, but I mean, the floor is literally, it's like an earthquake, right? When our brothers are going down the floor. And we need that so bad in these classes right now. And so whatever, you know, I have to do, I'm sure whatever these brothers have to do to make sure that that vision is realized, and I'm sure that we're more than willing to do that. If we have to have 10 more panels, you know, to do this, I'm sure that's something we need to do. So.
Yeah, y'all just got me excited, especially Baba Uche got me excited with the this idea of dance as the study of dance, and then the function of dance, like dance as function, right? Like it's like we all know that when we came, and we're talking, many of us are born here in America in this panel. It's funny because when you think of inheritance, that's something that is given to you, right? It's something that's like passed down to you. And when we came here, dancing was marked as illegal. Drums were marked as illegal. These are things that you are not to do. knowing the healing power of it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it was an assault on the on churning that energy, right? So like you're saying, I saw her dance and I saw beams coming off of her, right? She's amplified, right? You're saying you went to Africa and you just saw men dancing. They're leading the dance. Here's the thing though, and I looked at some of the work that Baba Stafford is doing. He mentioned that he's out at the University of Indiana. But I see that you are also doing other vocabularies because functional dance is occurring, right? So whether it be, you can call it the ballroom scene, you can call it break dancing, you can call it crumping, these things are happening as function, but they're not always happening in the classroom setting, right? The studying, like the going across the floor, there are men out there dancing, but that's the question. How do you bring that functional dance or that same energy or passion or reconnect it? Because I feel like instead of it being like a, what do you call it? Like a rites of passage where it's being, passed down as an inheritance, even Souleymane had to make a choice. Does that make sense? Like you had to choose dance almost in spite of what's going on around you. So it's like, what does that look like? You know what I mean? So I feel like I agree with you that there's a shortage of people across the floor, but I don't know. How do you do that? How do you get them in the classroom? How do you get that out there? Because the energy, it's churning, it's out there, but how do you invite them in? Does that make sense? Or create the safe space? I just talked a lot and y'all are so wise. I don't even know. I didn't mean to take up that time, but I just want to throw that out there. Maybe you can give me something back,
Yeah, I just have a quick comment about that. Thinking about the functionality of dance. From my perspective, it doesn't matter kind of what the main function of it is. Whether it's a ceremony or whether it's channeling, I don't know, competitive or hostile or antagonistic energy to dance battles so that our communities kill each other. Whatever that main function is, the one common function that unifies, I don't know, the dance that you categorize as functional is that it serves a spiritual function, for the people who are doing it. There's something spiritually uplifting for you, when you dance, whether it's crumping, whether it's something on the continent that's more ceremonial. And one thing I've always, or one potential that I've always seen in African dance, like I said at the beginning, is healing. Our communities have so many issues that we're dealing with, emotional, mental, many different issues. And I've always seen African dance as a way to kind of inject happiness and healing directly into people, and moving forward, I think that could be a function of African dance here. I don't know if it means like, men healing circles or something, dance and drums part of that. It's a catharsis or whatever we're dealing with in our lives. But my vision has always been that, we can create that functionality again around African dance by using it as a tool for spiritual healing. So I'm not sure what form that would take, but I can see it serving that function. Yes.
Anyone else?
I would add, as inheritors to dance, as performers and makers and participants in our community and culture ourselves, as male representations of our community and of our collective and various lineages, we have a responsibility in passing on what we know by doing lots of things, right? Some of the things we are doing. But to your particular question, Mel, I think about, because if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but it was about how to interest and get boys and men in the space and connected to these functions. Am I, correct me if I'm wrong though? Okay, so here's what I try to do. Sometimes I'm more successful than not, but what I've learned is that what I'm about to describe has a different face as we move forward in time. One of those things is to always stay connected to and pay attention to our elders who have, for us, laid a particular foundation. That's about tradition, that's about history, and that's about the perpetuation of who we are based on who we have been. Our connectivity to our family and our roots. But simultaneously, we have to too pay attention to what the young people are doing, where they're going, what they're interested in, not necessarily to all the time dissuade them from doing things, right? Although we certainly want to do that if we, foresee danger up ahead, right? But to get a sense of how history is or can shift, morph, and change through time, because history doesn't stay stagnant. And so it's our responsibility, really, in paying attention to figure out how to bridge connectivity with what we have learned by keeping sacred our ancestors, but our elders' words and presence and knowledge, and bridging a gap to where young people are, what they're doing. We cannot say just because they're young people that they don't know. They know what they're interested in, right? And any young person, no matter who they are, male, female, what have you, they only insert themselves in places where they see themselves, where they see the things that they're interested in. So if we can figure out how to bring what it is that we know and our lineages into a contemporary space and time, right? Not necessarily doing away with the thing altogether, but bring it into a contemporary space or time or lens such that it is palatable from their perspective, right? Because they haven't lived all of their life yet. Then I strongly believe that that's a part of it. It's hard work, right? It's hard work to stay current, to stay relevant, to pay attention to what young people are doing. But it is necessary work if we want them in the room, right? Be they young men or young women or whomever. And if we're focusing on young men, if we want them in the room, we've got to pay that kind of attention. And so I thought it was an opportunity for us all to come together in our various locales across the country to be able to brainstorm, right? We have particular age representation, we have geographic representation, we have knowledge and degrees representation that we can make our work liked by bringing our many hands together to figure out that and other challenges.
Shay, I'm on fire. Like I'm getting excited just listening to y'all and looking at all of you, and then also knowing y'all's background. To piggyback off of what you said about bringing people in, There is a comment on Facebook from Tani Osborne. She says, visual representation is everything. The more you brothers are present and seen and create the space of safety, the shift begins to happen. It's not going to be a major influx, but each one continue to nurture and guide one more, men will come forward. And that's why I got excited, because I was just thinking like, oh my God. When I think back to like African, when I was exposed to African dance, a lot of the people coming, the continental Africans that were coming, people were trying to establish places for them to teach, give them places and spaces to move. But then, you know, the next thing is companies are starting to be built, and you all talked about like physical buildings, institutions. The reason why I got excited is that many of you that I'm looking at on this panel have created institutions, right? So like you're creating the space. And then I'm thinking about like your resume. Could you imagine that one young man that comes into one of your classes is now connected to all of you? And let that, if that brother decides, oh, I just want to fly. Yeah, I know. Sule's like, oh, I know somebody that's teaching over there, you know, in NYU. Oh, I know someone at Juilliard. You need a recommendation? Oh, I know somebody that started a company and it has a company functioning in Chicago. And Souleymane is building a physical space. Is that correct? Don't you have a school that you're building in Mali? Is it? Yeah, I'm sorry. Aren't you building a school in Mali? Yes, yes. Do you come across any challenges with getting young men to attend your school?
Do you have any challenges with boys coming to the school?
Oh yes, actually the school I have been collaborating working with in Mali to put dance and music program there. I decided to have a lot of female dancers and a lot of male dancers there. Because if we take a look together today, Bamako have the large younger population in West Africa side. They don't know their own culture, they don't even know where they come from. But those second generation know what they want, what they need, what makes them excited. But the number one thing is the culture. They need to know that first. And after you go to whatever thing you want to do. At the school, we have a lot of male dancers who's focusing on the dance. A lot of them, like friends, we tell them, you don't need to dance, dance doesn't look good on you, you know, just let them dance, whatever, stop. And I just tell everybody, you know what? You take an example of me first, as your teacher. I'm a male dancer. I travel all over the places. The country you want to go today, it's the US. I mean, the United States. What brought me here? My 2 feet, the culture. You want to go to the US, or do you want to go to Japan? Or you want to accept yourself? You want to be proud of yourself? You want to be proud of your culture? Focus on the culture first. The culture. Ashe. Y'all got me lit. I'm excited. The reason why I'm excited is because there is a lot of potential here, and you all have a lot of wisdom. You have a lot of time. You have a lot of resources. That's incredible. I could just imagine some of you actually traveling to Mali to visit Souleymane with a group of kids. Anything could be possible. You know what I mean? So I'm excited about just that you're together. And the other thing is, not just selfishly dancing, but creating institutions and being stewards, right, of the culture so that it becomes an inheritance, right? So I'm very excited about that. The last thing I would like to do, because those brothers right there that are sitting at that table are about to jump into a tag team dance class, and that should be awesome. So they're about to sweat it out. And I'm glad that y'all are doing that. The thing that I would like to know now is, what do you need from us, right? For the people that are listening, the people that may watch this a little later on, what do you need from us? You know, what do you need from the community? What would you request, right? If there's anything that you have a request for us, is there anything?
and how can we stay in touch with you guys or watch what you're doing?
I think that's the last thing that you said, Mel. I think is the first thing that we could start with, is this idea of staying connected. I mean, we've talked about this. We've done a lot of talking. We had a series of about 10 meetings where we've just shared a whole bunch of ideas and to put them in the room, so to speak. And one of the things that we talked about is this idea of staying in touch with the Djoli Kelen community, but also with our various communities across the country. When we get to that work, we've certainly done it in our own ways, but intentionally, when we get it to that place, when folk hear from us or when we are reaching out, I think one of the things of the many things that we're asking is that folk respond, right? And in addition to the class that our brothers are about to do, the tag team class, we have talked about doing other kinds of similar activities, workshops, coming togethers across the country. And so one of the other things I believe that we would ask is that when folk hear about that, please respond, please come yourself, or send your young people, your young men, your older men, send folk to those events so that we can continue the dialogue, but B, grow in our intentionality.
Yeah, that's awesome. And whatever you all decide to do, what we'll do is we can put that information in the at the tag of this video, because it will probably live on Djoli Kelen's page. So we can put all that information there, and people will be able to always click the link or get in contact with you all, right? Lastly, in closing, is there anyone out there that has like a summary statement or just something that they would like to share with everyone as we are approaching our 1 hour mark? Yeah, is there anything that you all would like to share about this initiative or about yourself or anything that might be on your heart at this time?
Yeah, I'll just say that we're really in a gestation phase. We're forming, so we're an organism that is still malleable, still forming. So some of the things that we're talking about is, what do we actually call ourselves? How do we build a structure for a continual connection between us? And how do we build sort of infrastructure around just what you're asking, how to get people involved? I think at this point, what I will say is, if we are offering an invitation to make a contribution in the way of, if our talk today has inspired a name, something that is an identifiable marker of us, that we will take that in consideration as we go back into our cave, so to speak, and begin to continue talking about what it means to present ourselves and what it means to name ourselves. And so we are interested in the community being a part of that, but we are still building sort of the infrastructure, the way for us to get that information. But what you just said, Mel, is great. Keep in contact in terms of updating, in terms of what will be on social media, Facebook, Instagram, as we post things. We'll reflect on things and post things so that you can have access to us. So I hope all the brothers there are okay with that in a way.
Awesome.
Man, I will ask one thing, since at the moment we're not able to do so, or any of my other brothers that can in front of the computer. If you can write in the chat, contact@wholeheartproductions.com. And for all those that are viewing this right now, just send a quick message via email, and that will help us to begin to collect information so that when we do begin to send things out, that we have a starting point. So contact@wholeheartproductions.com.
All right. So when you said contact, is that part of the tag, or is it just contact space, then wholeheartproductions.com?
As an email, contact, the @ wholeheartproductions.com.
Awesome.
Thank you.
It's in there. All right, I'm excited. You had one person that spoke about one of the overarching objective, and that was Victor Marshall was saying that this is a very interesting conversation. How do we approach and bring young men in particular in African dance? My question to the panel is, how can we shape the narrative in making the involvement of young men in this cultural art acceptable for men to dance in the African traditions? Right? But that's kind of like the overarching goal in general, is to shape that narrative, right? That it is acceptable, correct? Yeah, so basically that's what they are, Victor. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get right on the pulse of that. Yeah.
I will add that throughout, I think many of our journeys, it all starts with us showing up and with the willingness to share what we do have and what we do know. So that's the beginning of it all. And as Baba Stafford said, we're here. This is the start. We've shown up. We've shared just this little bit. We're going to share a little bit more soon, but respond when we do send out other information and other locations and other gatherings. Show up for us so that we can continue to work.
Awesome. And this is my last thing from the chat. A lot of people said, y'all are beautiful. This is beautiful. The space is great. You know, that's a overwhelming response there. But I did want to say that Edmund Barry Johnson said, what about Dodumba and other male dance workshops targeting young men? Which sounds kind of like what you were saying, Darian, about like a healing, I don't know what you were calling it, like almost like a healing workshop. Could you imagine that, like some kind of healing workshop dealing with men, but then somehow Dodumba is kind of like also included in that session? You get what I'm saying? I could see that, but that was coming from the chat from Edmund Barry Johnson. So I'm excited to see whatever you all create, and however I can help, I would love to do that. I think we are at our time. Is there any, I just got to keep asking, is there anything else anyone wants to share while you're out here?
Yeah, one more thing. I just really want to thank Mel, you for being a fantastic moderator.
Ashe, thank you. I'm about to catch this flight to go to this wedding. I'm so glad that we were able to do this virtually, and thank you. I'm honored. I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to learn about each of you. They were very humble in their descriptions of themselves. I mean, really humble. These guys are very well learned. They are awesome. I would like to extend this opportunity at this time again to thank Djoli Kelen too. Thank you for all that you're doing. Have a great show tonight at 6:30. Get your tickets. Look at Djoli Kelen Facebook to find out more about that. Souleymane Solo Sana is teaching classes tomorrow back to back as well. And these brothers right here are about to teach a tag team class as soon as we end this live. I would like to defer to the elder, Baba Uche. If you would like to close us out real quick, that would be a wonder and a blessing.
Well, we stand on the shoulders of some very powerful ancestors, each and every one of us, and collectively. And we just ask and pray that those ancestors continue to guide us, to continue to protect us, to continue to inspire us, to continue to make sure that our message reaches all those that would benefit from it. Again, we thank you all for attending this panel. Thank you, Mel, for your moderation. Thank you to each and every one of the brothers that are present here. And may we just continue and go in peace. Ashe.
Ashe. Y'all have a great one and continue to celebrate. Inherit to dance. That's what's up. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mel.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I guess Shannon's gonna end it.
right?